Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setup for today. So, what can we say? Is that an exhaustion bar? That's the first question I have on my mind. Is that an exhaustion bar? So there are a couple of scenarios that have potentially played out, and I've got a level in here, which is basically the measured move, which is up to 14,400. But there's a lesson in all of this, and I just want to get to that before we start looking at anything else. So first things first, here was your move up above the moving averages, and if you block out sort of yesterday's move, if you block it out completely and we look at the price action, what did I say to you yesterday? This doesn't excite me at all, because of these tails up, tails down, bob wire, etc. We highlighted this potential wedge here, but my decision was let's not get involved in that. But have a look at this. So there's a move up, there's a measured move, tagged it perfectly. What was the deciding factor that we should have stayed in this? The fact that we had the moving averages all pointing in the right direction, and so that's kind of what it was. But early on in the session, it didn't look that way. It really didn't look that way before running away. So, this is just a great example of why strategies are so important. Some people could have taken the break, but the thing is, it's done that a couple of times through the week, and that would have just burnt you a couple of times. So you'd have probably lost 3 or 4 times before it breaking away. And I suppose a lot of people looking at it saying, damn, wish I was in on this. But, so what? Some structure will form, it will come back into some structure, and it's going to give you the perfect opportunity to get in. You probably, you won't make this move, but you'll make other moves, and you'll still be profitable. But this kind of chaos that we were having last week, it's very difficult to jump in on that and say with authority that you were looking for a move to the upside. I mean, okay, we did have 2 pin bars off structure here yesterday, but even that, as I said to you, I want to see us clear this area, 14,065, and come back and test it. And sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's exactly what transpired here. It didn't happen, it ran away. So this wedge is pretty much done. That target is done. And that's a new all-time high, if I'm correct. Yeah, new all-time high. But I think the key thing here at the moment is we are pretty close to the top of what looks like a channel, but it also looks like a bit of a wedge, but I think rather just do it that way. So remember, I'm on the weekly at the moment, so we're at the top of the weekly channel now as well. Do we expect another move to the upside? I think what's preferred at the moment is a bit of a pullback, but that is a big move, so it could be exhaustion moves, very possible. I think that's a clear break above 1400 now, so let's just bring the 1400 level up. Now what I'm looking for is 14200. So we'll have to wait and see what transpires here. This is going to be overhead resistance, and even if we break above this, the probability of it continuing is not going to be very great. So what you're looking for, I wouldn't be wanting to short that, to be honest, but what I am looking for is some kind of a pullback for an opportunity to buy into it. So the first pullback is to 14,197 or 14,200. That would be the first area. If we do break above this, it can continue for quite a few days to the upside, but the probability of it just continuing forever is very low. Okay, so you probably find it may have built some structure, then break to the upside. If it does do that, you have an opportunity to get in. Let's just do this on the 15-minute. You have an opportunity to get in long on the break of the structure that's forming. Break retest of the structure. The reason why I say that is because look at your risk. Your risk is going to be 100 points. So that's a fairly decent risk to reward. And look at my oscillators on the 15-minute at the moment. Okay, so the higher time frame is indicating overbought. Lower time frame is indicating another move. So you're looking for a break and a retest of the high of 14,418. Break retest of that, long it is, stop below the structure, and we're going to have to find out a measured move. So first measured move will be the height of the range, so in other words there. But the second measured move, and I'd be well, I suppose we don't have to be conservative, we can actually take it all the way from the down here. Let's do that, do something like that. But that 14,740, possible, very, very possible. I'm not filled with much confidence on it, but it is definitely possible. You know, for me, I'd probably look rather at something like this. And then probably from there to there. Just going to get it messy for a sec, just bear with me. You can see what I'm doing. I've got a channel in, trying to see roughly where we also have this this trend line. I don't want that one. We'll draw the trend line now. So let's just put a block in here. So there's my 50 and 61 Fibonacci is over there. Let's just get rid of the Fibonacci, and then let's get the trend line drawn in. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of more or less what I'd be looking at. I think that would make a lot more sense. And you can see we've got a level fairly close here at 14,200, and that's a decent pullback. So that definitely would make a lot of sense. It would break this trend line though, so that wouldn't make that much sense. So you almost want to see it pull back onto the bottom of this channel, somewhere in this area, and then shooting up, maybe forming a trend line that's something like that. So pick up these first two fractals here. So come back, that can still work, you know, back to 14,245. So 14,245, 14,200 area. That's kind of a decent pullback. I mean, that's kind of what I'd be looking at the moment. The futures market right now is up 0.2%, so we're at 14,407. I don't think that's much far from where we are at the moment. 14,407, and we closed at 14,355. So we're kind of still in this area here. So those are the two scenarios. I'm really rambling, but those are two scenarios. So you can see what we've done here. So the first one is obviously a break. Let's just, well, that's a trend line, so let's just do that. So the first one is a break above here, so 14,417. Break retest of that area, then you're looking, stop below the thing, below the structure, let it get running. As soon as it first pull back and starts climbing again, move your stop to entry, and then see if you can get that measured move. The second one is it sort of bounces off the top here, breaks below this structure, then I'll wait for it down below here. Okay, if we wait for it down at the bottom here, basically that will give us a much better opportunity to get in. Your risk to reward is going to be a lot bigger though, because your stop's going to have to be below the low of yesterday. So that's the only difference between the two. So yeah, this one here, bigger position you can put in, tighter stop loss. This one here, smaller position that you can put in with a much wider stop loss. And that's the structure for me today. I think we've got a clear break of 1400 now. There is some structure. There's a lot of noise in Europe at the moment. So I do expect it to continue, but often after a big move like what we had yesterday, we tend to consolidate the next day. So we tend to range the next day. All sort of drift lower, ever so slightly lower. And that to me is the most logical component at the moment. Okay. So anyway, either way, it is long. So pull back onto the Fibonacci levels around 14,224 and 14,200 is an opportunity to get in long with a stop below the low of yesterday. A break of structure and retest of structure this morning. That is an opportunity to get in long with a stop below the structure, and you're going to be looking for a fairly decent measured move of 14,742. So that is kind of the story that we have at the moment. I hope it helps, and we'll definitely catch up with you bright and breezy tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.